Sonny Rollins is one of our most beloved, inspiring, creative artists. For 6 decades, more than half a century, he has played music with the majesty of a Greek god. His tenor saxophone, the vehicle with which he manifests improvisational journeys of unprecedented harmonic imagination. Sonny Rollins grew up in Harlem. By the time he was 16, the potent young tenor man from Sugar Hill, who idolized Coleman Hawkins, was hanging out down on 118th Street at Minton's Playhouse. That's where Bird, Dizzy, and Monk were birthing a compelling new jazz idiom.
When I first encountered Miles Davis, it was as a sideman with Charlie Parker. And of course, Charlie Parker was our god. I thought it was very interesting that Miles Davis played a slightly different role than the great Dizzy Gillespie, because Miles sort of came up with a contrasting style, in a sense, than Dizzy Gillespie. Whereas Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker were sort of doing the same, in a sense. I mean, they were sort of playing, but Miles came up with a contrasting way of playing. And my very good childhood trumpet player and friend in our band, Lowell Lewis, he really loved Miles Davis, and so that's when I first encountered Miles Davis's playing. And he was great, you know. I mean, when I think about Billy's Bounce and that great solo, you know, in contrast to, I mean, it was perfect. So he was a big hero of mine. And I like his music. I mean, I think he's a great musician, and I empathize with his style. I always liked Miles Davis better than his contemporaries, like the great Fats Navarro. I always liked Miles's style better, this style that I'm speaking about now, which was sort of contrasting the sort of Charlie Parker approach. I was playing down at Minton's Playhouse, sort of with some people. You know, they used to have a lot of jam sessions at Minton's Playhouse. And I was playing in there one night, so one of the people in the audience, one of the guys, you know, after he played, said, hey man, sound okay, kid, you know, one of these things. So I said, you want to come up to play intermission at this club up in the Bronx? It plays Club 845, you know. They had jam sessions there on the weekend, and these jam sessions had all of the stars of jazz. You know, Miles Davis would be there, Eddie Lockjaw Davis, Dexter Gordon, Bud Powell. I mean, all the big jazz names, the big boys were there, you know. So this guy said, okay, Sonny, you know, you come up and play intermission for the big guys, you know. And of course I said, great, you know. And anyway, at that time I had a trio. So we played intermission, and Miles was one of the stars, you know, with the main group. And Miles heard me playing, you know, he said, oh man, you know, Sonny, I want you to join my band, you know. And I said, yeah, of course. And so the rest is history. Well, Miles is a genius, and I've seen some of Miles's paintings, and he was a genius who he was a seeker. So, which was evident from his early work with Charlie Parker. I mean, he didn't just go the way that a lot of people were going. He had his own approach. So Miles was very much a guy that would do everything. That he was a seeker. Miles told me, or told somebody, might not, I read someplace that Miles said, well, the reason why he changed his styles as the years went on is because he wasn't able to play as he got older. He wasn't able to play as he did in the 40s and 50s. So he changed his style because he wanted to keep active, but he wasn't able to play because, as you know, he got a lot of flack from people that said, well, Miles, why aren't you playing, the way we want you to play like back in the 40s, So that's part of it. But I think Miles is also, he's also a person that doesn't want to be a relic. And I share that with him, by the way, that trait. I mean, I want to keep contemporary, and I have a great love of music myself, and we want to keep active. And to keep active, if you're able to, some people can just be what they are and live their whole career like that. Beautiful. I'm not that kind of musician, and I don't think Miles is. Miles wants to always be moving with the times. I mean, this is a very complicated topic, but Miles and I discussed this several times in different ways, and we agreed mainly that things are always changing, that if you're able to assimilate the change, it's, but again, that's a type of musician. I'm not a good enough musician to be able to play one way all my life. I mean, I can't recreate something I did in 1950, so I have to change in my case. But I think there's also a philosophical reason for changing.
Thank you.